I've just spent 7 hours playing through as many demos on the Steam Next Fest as I could, trying all of the recommendations that I'd got from my chat, and these are the 3 best games that I've found. You really need to check them out, so let's get into them. Dench Attack is the only game on this list which I knew about going into this. Like, I'd seen the trailer that came out sometime last year. From when I saw that trailer, I knew I was going to love it, and now I've played it. I'm so happy it lives up to the hype, and to be honest, it exceeds it. If I had to choose one game from Steam Next Fest I wanted to play the full game of right now, it would 100% be this. It is just so much fun. So to try and explain what Dench Attack is, you are a train driver trying to compete in a tournament against other train drivers on the most insane rail systems you've ever seen in a kind of hyper version of Japan. And the gameplay ends up looking like Subway Surfer, but it plays more like a mixture of Bit Trip Runner and maybe Skate. So as you're going down the rails, you have a ton of different things to think about. And the tutorial does a really good job of introducing these one by one. So you start off learning how to go around corners, where there's kind of a little mini game where you have to hold the left trigger for just the right amount of time. And then you learn that you can switch tracks, so you can jump between tracks, and then you can actually just jump in the air sometimes to avoid objects, and you can slam back down so you don't hit like a high bridge or a tunnel entrance or something. And then you learn that while you're in the air, you can perform loads of tricks like in Skate by sort of manipulating the right stick in different ways, doing things that are literally called like kickflips. They're just skateboarding tricks basically, but you're doing them with a train. And then once you get into the levels, you start learning that you also need to try and find collectibles. There's certain challenges to do, like in Tony Hawk's or games like that. There's so much to do. There's so much going on at any one point. And the best thing about it is that it all feels amazing. Something that I've noticed playing through loads of these Steam Next demos is that a lot of the games have a really cool idea, but the execution's not quite there. Like, the controls don't feel right. Maybe the visual style doesn't quite match up with how it plays, something like that. But Dench Attack just feels perfect. Everything you do feels super snappy. All of the levels are paced really well, where you're just constantly doing new things. You're constantly being challenged in new ways, and there's something that you could perfect a little bit more. The demo only has like 3 or 4 tracks on it, and that's including the tutorial. But perfecting them would be super hard. You get a medal for your score for tricks, you get a medal for the speed that you completed the track in, and you get a medal for how many collectibles you've done. So if you want to perfect everything, that's going to be super challenging. Now, I couldn't tell you what's going to be in the full game. I'm hoping there'll be things like leaderboards, maybe even some kind of crazy multiplayer mode. I've got no idea. But if the game is literally just you trying to get gold medals on all of the tracks in the game, I'll be super happy. Like, this will be an incredible game. It's already, like, in my head, this is a potential game of the year for me. In a year where we have GTA 6 coming out and Marathon and Call of Duty's entering a new era, this is a game that I'm excited about alongside those. It's just really hard to get across how good this feels to play. I mean, I probably don't need to sell you on it. If you're the sort of person that likes these sort of games, so things like Skate or Tony Hawk's, or even more arcadey racing games where the idea is to try and complete a course and get as many medals as possible, you know, things like Trials, then you're gonna love this. Like, you're gonna have the best time with it. All of these demos are available for free on Steam right now as part of Steam Next Fest, and I heartily recommend that you try it out. I know the game is coming to Xbox and PlayStation as well. I've got no idea if they're going to get this demo. I hope so, because I want as many people to play this as possible. I just want more games like this. To be honest, right now, I want to go and play Dench Attack right now. But check it out on Steam and Next Fest if you want to, and let me know in the comments how you get on with it and what you think of it, because, man, this game's amazing. And now for something completely different. So I only came across this because while I was streaming my search through Steam Next Fest on my main channel, Geeky Pastimes, go check it out if you want to, I stream on Twitch and YouTube over there, the developer of this game actually came in chat and was like, hey, check out my game if you'd like, and I was playing with a friend and I thought, why not? And when I first saw it, I thought it was completely overwhelming and didn't really seem like the sort of game for me. And then within a few minutes of playing it with a friend, I realized just how good this game is. So, the Grand Slamboree is a bit like Smash Brothers crossed with Towerfall. If you remember Towerfall, that game where it's sort of your archers and one arrow will kill someone, super good local multiplayer game. This feels a bit like that. So, like in Smash Brothers, it's just a 2D fighter where you're on one screen, you can have up to 4 people in the game at once, and you have all different characters that have all kinds of different abilities. But unlike Smash Brothers, all of those abilities will kill an enemy in basically one hit. I think there's a couple of abilities that take maybe a couple of hits, but most of it's just one hit kills. And this means matches in this game are so unbelievably tense because you just need to get that one hit on an enemy in order to kill them. Right now the footage you're seeing is Last One Standing. It's a mode that's kind of like a mini battle royale every round, where you just want to be the last person left alive. Like the old days of playing Bomberman, I guess. There is another mode as well, Slamboree, where it's just about who manages to get the most knockouts, and you just constantly respawn for 30 seconds. But whichever mode you're playing, the rounds are super fast, super brutal, and like I was saying about Dense Attack, one of the best things about this is just how good it feels to play. You can wall jump, you can hop around, each of the characters kind of has vaguely different movement, but the attacks just feel so satisfying. So right now in the game, I think there's 3 different players that you can play as. There's a guy called Donk who looks a bit like Kratos from God of War. He's the guy with the big shield and the mace in the bottom right now. And he has these really satisfying melee attacks that can just run up to someone and then smack them and send them flying, and they'll explode across the map. He also has a counter attack, so if someone attacks him, he can like block for a second and then hit back. So really technical, quite difficult to get to grips with. Then the character you saw who just won then, that looks like a little banana in a giant mech suit, his sort of gimmick, I guess, is that he has 3 different weapons. He has a saw blade that he can fire. He also has a massive metal spike that he can shove forwards. You're seeing the people in the bottom left using that there. And then he also has a kind of harpoon gun that will impale people. So he can switch between those guns as you're going through the match. There's a bit of a cooldown on them, but depending on how far away you are from the enemies, you want to kind of pick the right tool for the job. If I just switch quickly to another match that we were playing, here you can see my character in the top left. This is on the Slamboree mode, by the way, where people respawn. My character is that chicken in the top left, and you get 3 eggs that you can fire at people, so a proper like ranged attack. Once you've used those 3 eggs up, the only way to get them back is either to respawn, or you can kind of crouch down and lay some eggs, which is a cool little idea. And because it's a chicken, he can kind of fly. You can kind of flap and hop up into the air for a little while. So all 3 of these characters play completely differently, and I'm sure there'll be loads more characters in the main game. But on top of the characters, there's also completely different environments that you can fight in. So as you complete rounds, you kind of have multiple rounds within the same kind of environment. So in this one, you can find coins around, and you can use them at that bounty board at the top to get kind of assist summons in, characters who will have effects across the entire map. And you can also buy items like things like a floating sword that flies around you, or a magical staff that makes lightning strikes. So part of your strategy in this game could be trying to get a load of coins so you can buy more powerful items. But in this map, in the farms, you have some kind of crazy goats that have rockets strapped to them, and if they see you, they will come flying at you super fast and can kill you just because they rammed into you. So there pretty much everybody died. Then there's this futuristic game show arena where there's all sorts of traps and springboards, and there's also this referee who hovers around, and if you accidentally hit him with something, he will fly over to you and fire a laser at your face to try and kill you. Basically, what I'm trying to get across is, the arenas are super creative. They have really interesting hazards, really interesting gimmicks, and the combination of the different characters' gimmicks, the levels gimmicks, and the really tight controls and super fun game mode just makes this game so addictive to play with your friends. It really does capture that feeling that I had of playing games like Bomberman or Smash Brothers back when I was a teenager. It's got that nice thing where it's super easy to pick up and play, but it's quite hard to master. Like, you realize there's a ton of depth into it. And the fact that all of this is made by one developer, like all of the art, the voiceovers, the coding, everything, just blows my mind. I can't wait to play this game, the full release, and try out all of the different characters, all of the different levels and stuff like that. It's just a huge amount of fun and a perfect local multiplayer game. As a pro tip, by the way, which I got directly from the developer, it is local multiplayer only, kind of, but through Steam you can do the remote play, which means somebody else can kind of join your game as if they are locally on your machine, and then you can play multiplayer. That's how we did it. I've got no idea if the finished game will have proper online multiplayer. Hopefully it will for the consoles as well. But yeah, use the Steam remote play just when you're playing the game, go to your friends list and invite them to do remote play, and that should work. And then something completely different again for the third and final game that I'm going to talk about in this video. This game is called Far Far West. And the best way I can describe this really is it is Helldivers, but you are skeleton cowboys. And it's much better than that sounds, although to be honest that does sound pretty awesome. So you go in with a group and you immediately have a big sort of open map, like it's pretty wide, and there's a bunch of different side objectives, roaming enemies, stuff you can loot and pick up, all of that kind of stuff, kind of like you expect in Helldivers. You have mounts so you can get around super quickly, and as you can see here, this was my introduction to it, you also have spells, and some of the characters, some of the people who have been playing that have unlocked things further in this game have some absolutely crazy spells like that giant fire tornado. I just had a kind of fireball that I can throw out and then some sort of acid flamethrower, acid spewer type thing. But you also have weapons, so I've got this kind of quad shot type thing, I don't know if it's meant to be a shotgun or what, and a pistol that also had an acid attack. Now, the thing that makes this game work so well is just the gameplay pacing. Like, it felt like I was constantly doing something interesting or seeing something interesting. There's always skeletons and monsters and demons attacking you. They all have different kinds of attacks. Some will have big shields, some will make energy force fields around you, some are flying, some are carrying explosives. And the environment you're searching around looks really cool. It's all this kind of abandoned, haunted West theme, which I really, really like. As you progress through, you're earning stuff, so you're getting souls and you're getting gold. You can spend those to upgrade stuff when you're back at the camp, like you're in this little Wild West town where you can go and upgrade things like unlocking new weapons or upgrading your weapons, or unlocking new spells and cosmetics and stuff like that, as well as character upgrades. There's constantly stuff that you can be collecting while you're in the game, stuff to be fighting, stuff to be doing. And even though this is a demo, they've somehow managed to hit that really, really nice balance where you constantly feel like you might get overwhelmed. And that's not an easy balance to strike. Like, I was just playing the Toxic Commando demo the other day, and that was one where I thought, oh, they've made the game so it feels a little bit too easy, it's a little bit too forgiving. And you don't want that, because if a game's too easy, you're just going to get bored the whole time, and the game like kind of feels bland. But you also don't want the game to be too challenging, where every time you go in you just get absolutely destroyed straight away, because that's going to put you off too. That's a little bit frustrating. Instead, this feels like a really, really nice mix where, yes, it feels like you're being overwhelmed all the time, but I didn't actually fail a single run while I was playing this. It just constantly felt like stuff was happening. I've got no idea what this thing is. It's like a coyote or something. I thought it was a treasure goblin like in Diablo, and I spent way too long chasing this thing. So let's skip to the boss. The other thing this game does a really good job of is spectacle. Like, the bosses all look incredible out of the ones that I've seen so far. So this one is the Cryptic Train, and it's absolutely amazing. I thought it was that thing on the floor, but that accidentally set off a nuclear explosion, which also looked really cool. I think the other players who knew what they were doing put it there so we could destroy the boss really quickly. As soon as it spawned, we could do some damage to it. But yeah, look at these trains. They just look absolutely amazing. Like, this is a really fun, cool boss fight, and it had some really cool, fun attacks. Like, you could see here, it's sort of spawning and then shooting through on the ground. And I die here, and even when I'm dead, it gives you fun stuff to do. Like, you can fly around as a wisp and sort of do this energy blast, so start damaging stuff. But other players can come and revive you as well, of course. And then once you've beaten the boss, you can then go to the train station, and kind of like in Helldivers, you have to exfil from the game, so you'll have to fight off waves of enemies while you wait for the train to appear. And that's super fun too, because it feels kind of crazy. You're probably running out of a load of stuff, or maybe you've got some new exciting weapons and stuff and you're trying those out. It's just so much fun. It's just sheer joy. It really did scratch a similar itch to Helldivers, and for a kind of indie game, I think it's absolutely awesome. If you've got a group of friends, I mean, I was just playing this with absolute randoms and I still had a blast, but I think if you were playing it with a group of friends, it would be even better. It's well worth checking out. Now, obviously, these three aren't the only good games in Steam Next Fest. This Last Flag game was pretty fun, I quite enjoyed it. There's a bunch of other stuff that's kind of interesting. If you've got any more recommendations, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to check out the free games that I was talking about in this video, there's links to their Steam pages in the description below. Like I said, I kind of hope that they'll make it to console, particularly I know Dench Attack definitely will. Hopefully the demo will make it over, but for right now you can try these demos on Steam as long as Steam Next Fest is on. Sadly, these Steam Next Fest demos often do kind of go away after a while, so make sure you play them now and let me know in the comments below what you thought of the games that you've played. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more game recommendations, make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on. Like I said, if you want to catch me streaming, head on over to Geeky Pastimes, so either youtube.com/Geeky Pastimes or twitch.tv/Geeky Pastimes, and hopefully I'll see you there. Goodbye.